Good morning. Tonight we begin the festive holiday of Chanukah. For the next 8 nights, we're going to light the menorah, increasing 1 candle each and every night. But in addition to lighting the menorah, we're also going to eat Latkes. And of course, the reason we eat Latkes is because it's drenched in oil, and we remember the miracle that occurred with oil. But the great debate that's been going on for thousands of years amongst Jews is applesauce or sour cream. Now, of course, if you're having meat, you have no choice. You have to have applesauce. But if not, you could choose either one. I don't see a contradiction. You have some latkes with applesauce and some with sour cream. But the question is, what is the obsession with oil? Sufganiyot, oil donuts, oil latkes. Obviously, the miracle occurred with oil. But why do we eat constantly foods with oil in it? And the answer is that it goes back to the real debate of Chanukah. The real debate of Chanukah between the Greeks and the Jews was the debate between the number 7 and the number 8. You see, the Greeks believed in 7 and the Jews believed in 8. 7 represents nature, 7 days of the week, 7 colors in a rainbow, the 7 musical notes. 8 represents that which transcends nature, which is holiness and godliness, that which is beyond the visible physical reality, the spiritual dimension. And that's why the Greeks forbade 3 things: the study of Torah, because the Torah is a book that was divinely authored, and they said, we don't believe in the divine, we don't believe in the spiritual. They forbade circumcision, because circumcision is done on the 8th day. It represents man's ability to transcend the body and the physical reality through faith and spirituality. And of course they forbade Shabbat, because Shabbat introduces the element of holiness in the 7th day, that which is beyond the physical. So the Greeks believed in 7. 7 represents natural, scientific order. That's why Greek sculptures and Olympics is all about the physique, maximizing the potential of the physical. Jews said, yes, we believe in the physical, but we believe there's an 8th dimension which transcends the physical. And that's why we eat oil. When you eat oily foods, you should remember the idea of 8. Why? Because the word in Hebrew for 8 is shmona, which is the same letters as the word shemen, that which is oily. And therefore the oily latkes and the oily donuts remind us that we Jews stand for the number 8, that which is beyond the physical. There's a story about the Rabbi in the concentration camps, where the Jews gathered in secrecy in the barracks to light the menorah. It was the first night of Chanukah. They took up potatoes and they carved it out, and they drenched some oil from their foods that they had, and they created a little bit of oil. They took a thread from their prison uniforms and made a wick. And the Jews huddled around the Rabbi Moshe Shapiro to light the menorah. And he began with great fervor to recite the first blessing, that you commanded us to light the menorah. And then he made the second blessing with great fervor, that you perform miracles for our ancestors in those days and in these days. But then when he came to the third blessing of Shechianu, thanking God for having survived to live this day, he stopped. He closed his eyes and he started to meditate, and he started to cry. Then he opened his eyes and looked around the barrack at every Jew in attendance, staring at him, waiting for him to recite the third blessing. And with great emotion, he recited the third prayer, Shechianu v'kimanu v'gianu lasman hazeh. After they sang the songs of lighting the menorah in hushed tones, they asked the Rebbe, why did you stop and get so emotional when you lit the menorah with the third blessing of Shechianu? And he said, before you make a blessing, you think about the meaning of the blessing. And I asked myself, how can I recite Shechianu, thanking God for having lived to see this day, when we're in a concentration camp, our families are being murdered, we're being tortured, we're being killed? And then I opened my eyes and I looked around and I saw the faith of the Jews, that even in a concentration camp, my fellow Jews were ready to perform the mitzvah of lighting the menorah. They haven't lost their faith in God despite their suffering, despite all the tragedy. And I said, let me recite a Shechianu of having lived to see such pure faith on behalf of my fellow Jews. That is the faith that has sustained the Jewish people. That is the faith, the oil and the light of the menorah that we have to discover within ourselves. That yes, we live within a physical reality, but we must always carry with us the light of the number 8, Shemona, Shemen, the pure oil, that the soul is able to connect beyond what the physical mind can even comprehend. That is the strength and the miracle of the story of Chanukah. Chag Sameach. Join us tonight in Bradley Park as we light up the park for the first night of Menorah.